Don't Scream, a short horror story by Cheyenne Kirby. The girl was cold. She shivered as she woke to a dark, damp room. Where was she? The room was filled with the stench of rotting flesh, but it was so dark she couldn't see anything. She felt her pockets for her phone and breathed a sigh of relief when she found it there in her pocket. She was about to check for service when she thought she heard a whimper from the darkness across the room. She shined the phone light throughout the room, but its faint light only showed a few feet in front of her. A chill ran up her spine, and she tried her hardest to swallow the lump in her throat. "Who's there?" she called out tentatively. She felt as though she were being watched by some unseen force, but she couldn't see anything, really. Just the black emptiness that felt as though it were swallowing her. So surely no one could see her, right? Who would possibly want to be in this room anyways? Who would put her here? What had she even been doing before all this? Her brain was racked with unanswered questions and frightful assumptions. She tried to keep her breathing steady as she walked through the room. It was so cold, her bones ached, and her teeth started to lightly chatter. Shh. A quiet sound flittered around her. Or was it a voice? She wasn't sure. She snapped around and turned in so many circles she almost fell over trying to find who had spoken. "Hello? Please, can you tell me who you are?" she begged the silence. "Can you tell me where I am?" It said again. She began to think, maybe it wasn't a person. Maybe it was a burst pipe blowing steam, or a burst pipe draining water. Voice or not, it would slowly drive her insane if she stayed in this place for too long. She had to get out of here. It went again. She felt as though she would cry. She just wanted to go back home. She didn't deserve this. She pushed herself almost blindly through the room, at least trying to find a wall, anything other than the cold, damp vortex. But she kept turning, she realized. How would she find a wall if she kept turning? She decided to walk straight, and after what seemed like forever, she finally hit something solid. She laughed, forgetting her phone for a moment as she pressed herself against the damp wall. Then she lifted her phone only to find that it was a brick wall, darkened with slowly drying blood. Her breathing quickened. She gasped, pulling herself away from the wall. She shined her phone light on her arms and legs only to find that they were covered with bandages. Blood slowly seeped through around certain parts. What had happened to her? She wished it wasn't so dark in the room, so she could see all of it and understand what was going on. She followed the wall on and on and on. For hours upon hours, she finally came across something on the wall. A small piece of paper, a note. She took it and shined the light of her phone onto it so she could read it. "Don't look at your screen," was all it said. It was her handwriting, but she didn't understand. Why would she write this? Why couldn't she look at her phone screen? She bit her lip. Her curiosity overwhelmed her sense, but nonetheless, she decided to follow the note's instructions. She kept walking along and came across another note. It was her handwriting again. She picked it up. "Don't turn on the lights here," it read. Why couldn't she turn on the lights? How would she turn on the lights? She crumpled up the note and kept going. Eventually she came across another note. She sighed and picked it up. "Just trust me. There's a monster here," it read. What? There's no such thing as monsters, right? This None of this made sense. She pushed forward until she found herself in a corner. She paused for a moment, and then continued. Now she found herself face to face with a wall full of notes. The door's ahead. Don't look back when you leave. Please trust me. Don't try to save me. I did this to you, for you. We were both dying. Slowly and slowly, the girl began to recognize the handwriting not as her own, but as her twin sister's. The two had very similar handwriting, but the small differences here and there began to show themselves. I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. Shh. There was that sound again. But this time, the girl paid no mind to it. Don't make too much noise. Don't scream. It will find you if you scream. By now, the girl was walking along the wall as she found the notes. You have to get out of here. She saw a faint light coming from what seemed to be a slightly open door. I tried to buy you some time. She reached the door and pushed it open. Light flooded the room and across her body. Tell everyone I love them. The curiosity ate at her, though. It had to be some kind of twisted joke. I love you. Goodbye. She turned her phone screen towards her and almost screamed. There was a face on her screen. Inhuman. It couldn't be human. She threw it back into the darkness, and suddenly the lights flared on in the room, and the girl almost threw up. There was this giant, hideous thing. Its body was slightly humanoid, but its skin was a leathery red. Blood splatters covered it, making it the red even deeper, if that was even possible. The spine on its back protruded, and its face consisted mostly of teeth inside its cavernous mouth. Its eyes were dead black, and its nose consisted of 2 black holes in the center of what she could only hope what would be called its face. It gave her what seemed like a twisted smile and pointed to the wall behind it. There. Her sister was hanging there in a sick, grotesque kind of crucifixion. She was cut up and bloody, and her mouth had been cut open on the edges back up to her ears, and her eyelids had been cut completely off. The girl's sister whimpered, and their eyes met. The thing drew her attention back to it by drawing a finger to its mouth. Shh. It hissed, its long tongue flickering between its teeth. I found you. In fear and horror, the girl screamed, running through the doorway and slamming it behind her. She only realized a little after that she had left her sister behind and tried to open the door, but the light was surrounding her and it was only getting brighter. Suddenly, she was staring up at a hospital ceiling, and she was laying down again. She sat up, still screaming. Her parents rushed in with the doctors and tried to soothe her. Shh. Her sister's breathing system went. They had her intubated. They were about to let her go, but now, as the girl woke up, her sister's intubation system failed, and she flatlined. They lost her. The next couple of days were a blur. The hospital, the funeral, then she remembered. They had been driving home. The girl had been on her phone. Her sister had been behind the wheel. "You're always on that thing," her sister laughed. "You're going to kill all of your brain cells." "You're just jealous because I have more of a life than you," the girl joked. "Oh, Her sister stopped mid-sentence. "What the fuck is that?" The girl looked up to see a blur of red, strange... a figure, as her sister swerved. The car hit something and they began flipping, and then everything went dark. The morning after the funeral, the girl went through her sister's things. Memories flooded through her head, and she cried, throwing her sister's favorite book across the room in anger and aggravated sorrow. A paper fell from somewhere in the book, and the girl fell to her knees, crawling over to the paper, desperate to have a little piece of her sister. She picked it up and opened it. It was a letter. It was addressed to the girl. "Dear Lucy, I know you're probably so confused right now. If you're reading this, then, well, I must be dead. It means the creature found me. Let me explain. 5 of our friends and I went to this house that was supposed to be haunted not too long ago. We brought a Ouija board with us. We just wanted to play a harmless game. We didn't think anything would actually happen as we started. But something answered. It asked us if we wanted to play a simple game. It said we could leave the game whenever we wanted. But it was getting so late. Mom texted me asking where I was, so I lied and she let me stay longer. We agreed. The rules were simple. We had to hide in the darkness, and it would try to find us. When we asked how we would see in the darkness, it said we would use our phones. But we couldn't look at the screens, or it would find us, and then we had to join it and find the others. It said, don't turn on the lights. Don't scream. Those are the ways it found you. It almost caught me once. Its touch burned my skin, and we realized what this game was about when one of us, Tommy, we found Tommy dead. It had killed him by ripping out his throat. On his dead body there was a note. The game isn't over, my little lambs. Run. Run, or I'll find you. It wrote in his blood. Willow, Tommy's girlfriend, had to choke back a scream because we didn't want that thing to find us. It wasn't just a game. It wanted us dead. We said goodbye on the Ouija board, and we vowed never to go back to that house. We called the police, but they said we shouldn't be playing silly pranks. They said the house was so boarded up that no one could get in. When we looked back at it from the outside, he was right. We couldn't get back in. We thought that was the end of it. We went home and all mourned Tommy's death separately, quietly. But then everyone started disappearing. Now, I'm the only one left, Luce. And I don't think it'll stop with me. If I'm gone and you find this, then you're in danger too. I will figure out how to kill it. I promise I won't let it touch you or anyone else. The burn on my arm still hurts. It's so bad I don't know how I will hide it. I'm sorry. I always took your things without asking. I'm sorry I have to leave you like this. I think I'll call you tonight after work. You love that phone, so I know you'll be on it. I'm going to take you out to have fun tomorrow. It will kill me when it's ready. I just don't want it to get you too. I'm afraid to even get in the car alone. I'm afraid to look at the phone. Maybe I won't call. Maybe I'll just tell you when I get there. I have to go now. I'm at work, but I think I'm just going to take tonight off and take you out tonight instead. I don't think I'll have until tomorrow. I'm sorry I did this. I'm sorry I left you so soon. I'm sorry to say, but you need to burn this letter if you found it. I don't want Mom and Dad to know, too. I don't want Mom to blame herself for letting me out. I love you, Luz. Goodbye. That's where the letter ended. But some of the words were underlined, so the girl, Lucy, decided to write them all out. It lied. In phone, burn it. The game will never end. Burn your phone. It's in the phone. The girl's heart beat very quickly, and she took her phone from the things in the crash, along with the letter and the Ouija board after she found it in the box as well. She started the fireplace in the back of her room, and she threw it all in without a second thought, except for the phone. She couldn't help but look at the screen. On it was only one message. Want to play a game? In a panicked rage, she threw the phone into the fire. A few moments later, an inhuman screech started up, so loud it rang through the night, and Lucy couldn't help but smile. Her sister had won. She had warned Lucy and had helped her somehow. She listened to the screeches and said the one thought that came to her mind. "Don't scream," she laughed. "We found you. You lose." It had been in her phone since the crash.